Those of you who go around defending this man called TB Joshua, I would like to know why you are defending him. Like, what exactly is the problem? I mean, sometimes when people say things like, oh, men of God are under attack, I'm like, okay, I have heard, but he is not the only man of God. He is not like, why is it only him that people are constantly coming out to accuse of committing heinous crimes? In 2001, there was a magazine publication talking about the many scandals of the synagogue church, starting with a confession by a former finance controller who talked about how he was in charge of arranged confessions. Like you can imagine, most times people come to the church and they're like, I am a witch. Like someone on Twitter talked about how her mom was shocked to see their neighbor testifying about being cured from blindness. Like this guy doesn't even use glasses. So how come he was testifying about being cured of blindness? So you see that he arranged his confessions. Every country he attended, he had people who will come and testify why people who were actually ill and in need of help were left there sometimes to die. And you know the sad thing, he would often tell them to do away with their drugs. That's to show you how this man was. Like, okay, if he won't heal them, why don't you tell them, okay, keep taking your drugs, blah blah blah. Give them hope, encourage them. Even people who heal, like prophetic, like people who I consider real men of God, they don't undermine the place of English medicine. I mean, I believe that God gave pharmacists and doctors knowledge. That is why you see the likes of Zion Ministry, the Half Hospital. Sometimes they send people there to run tests. They are not insane. They know what they are doing. The place of English medicine in healing cannot be removed. I mean, they work hand in hand. After all, people take certain drugs, they don't get healed. And through prayers, intercessions, people take those drugs and they are healed. I believe it is God who gives doctors and pharmacists, producers of medicine, knowledge to be able to do what they do. So we need to understand these as Christians. So when your pastor tells you, throw away your drugs, you throw your drugs away, and then before you know it, your condition deteriorates and bam, you abide. And at the end of the day, it is your family members who are left to deal with the pain of losing you. So let me say this thing. I believe that, I don't know, I tell people that I do not like people who are overly religious. Even as someone who loves God, like people who know me outside here know that I love church. I'm such a Catholic girl. I love to do church things. But then I am someone who is in absolute control of my mind. It's not everything I hear in church I consume. Like a priest will not tell me, put your hand inside fire. And I'll say, oh, this is coming from Father XYZ, so I have to do it. No, it is every shade of wrong. So people need to be able to, differentiate between all these things. Like, know when you are idolizing your pastors, know when you have placed your pastors above God. Some people have actually placed their pastors above God, like TB Joshua's followers. I see them running up and down defending him like headless mobs. I'm like, oh my God, who did this to Nigerians? Some are like, oh no, he was so generous, he was a philanthropist. And this is what I'm saying, is that we need to know that giving, philanthropy, charity doesn't negate wickedness. Like philanthropy is not a character flaw. It is not like people give. You don't know why he's giving. It's just like an average Nigerian minister or senator embezzles money and then manage to give out like 1% of what they have embezzled. And people are like, oh no, he was generous. See, I tell people that to get away with crime is so easy in Nigeria. All you need to do is to do a giveaway. I'm even going far. Look at Naira Marley, that was recently accused of, leading to being the primary cause of the demise of Mohbad. And today, recently, this guy went to the streets after he left police custody. He went into the streets, distributed foodstuff, and the next thing, this guy is on the streets and people are hailing him. I am like, my goodness, is it hunger or what? And I have also heard People talk about TB Joshua like, oh no, he helped the poor, he gave so person money. I'm like, oh my God, please just stop it. Like, can we be serious for once? So what? Even if he helped the poor, so we should now overlook those he hurt. Okay, he helped 20 poor people and destroyed 200 people. So which do we face? Should we focus on the poor people he helped? I really do hope our government step up so Nigerians will stop this unnecessary idolatry given to men of God or people who are believed to be philanthropists. Because at the end of the day, Nigerians be like, oh no, this person, the moment if you're a generous person in Nigeria, hey, my dear, 90% of your crimes will be washed though. You will see people who will come out to defend you. You see, that is why most times when I want to give, do you know that I never give, like when I want to give, I don't give publicly. Like I give mostly anonymously because I don't want people to idolize me. I do not like adulation. When people idolize you to the point where you can do no wrong in their eyes, they are watching you make mistakes and they are not correcting you. That is exactly the same problem someone like Davido has. He's making mistakes. Those around him are hailing him. They don't want to be in his bad books, so he doesn't starve them of funds. Things like that. So that's why most times when I look at people, I'm like, you guys don't know that someone can still be charitable and have a very mean spirit. Someone can be a philanthropist and still, not be a wonderful person. But it takes someone who is very emotionally intelligent, someone who is very smart to decipher this. Because most times people just go, oh no, he gives. Oh no, he's kind. People mistake that for kindness. But even people who have worked with TB Joshua have confirmed that for every crime that was committed, he was aware, and that man could see someone buying and he will not move an inch. He had no emotions. He never cared about people. For him, it was all about the ministry. Something can be happening and he's telling the cameraman, please don't video everything, don't miss. Like he was so obsessed with the way the public saw him. Meanwhile, as far as people were concerned, even his own daughter said it, that man treated her so badly. There was time he would instruct everybody to do with her whatever they liked. Even she got, molested at a point, and he never cared. And she was really young at the time. So when you hear stories like this, and then you see people defending this man, even someone like Dele Momodu, like I expected better. Although the guy is his friend, but I expected better. Sometimes, moments like this, you can choose silence. You can keep quiet. Silence is also a way of saying, okay, I this person was my friend, we had a good relationship, but I do not subscribe to this side of him. But instead, this one is telling us, no, nothing. Or is it FFK? For Femi Fani Kayode, I really don't care. I mean, we all know that he's a psychopath, so I really don't want to concern myself with his opinion. But Dele Momodu, I expected better from him. Someone like him that is widely traveled, and I'll say this thing to ladies, so if you have a man that is defending TB Joshua like he's paid to do it, you need to watch closely. Because with this kind of man, of course, except if you're not that kind of person, because with this kind of man, when your children are facing stuff tomorrow, you hear him say, oh, it's her fault, she's a tempter. Because that was TB Joshua's favorite slogan. Like one video that touched me, a part of the documentary that touched me so much was where a father was complaining about the fact that his daughter was pregnant because she was molested. And guess what TB Joshua said? No, nothing like that. She's a tempter. She's a fleet. Said she's a flirt. We're going to cast out the spirit. So you can imagine that poor girl, the trauma. Do you think she's ever going to forgive her father? I need parents to do better. And I'll tell you, as a Christian, discover God for yourself. Know God for who he is, so that people will not come out and sell bullshit and cock and bull stories to you, and you will believe them hook, line, and sinker. You need to discover God for who he is. Know God as a person. Read your Bible and know when to say no, and then create healthy boundaries with this pastor. I have never felt the need to be so attached to a pastor to the point where, oh yes daddy, oh no daddy, or to the point where I do things and my pastor is calling me to say, this thing you did, I don't like it. Like for what? Let me tell you about my auntie, my mom's sister. She had this pastor. My mom's sister was based in Enugu. She was so close to this pastor that when her daughter wanted to get married, In fact, each person her daughter wanted to marry, my auntie would take the person's name, and the person would be like, no, this person is not good for your daughter. There was this guy my cousin had known almost all her life, like her first love, and it was even the guy who helped her gain admission at the time. And she was so used to this guy. The pastor said no, if she married that guy, she wasn't going to be happy. And my auntie, of course, mounted so much pressure. And maybe because the guy was from Enugu State and my auntie from Anambra didn't want that. We mounted so much pressure that my cousin said, okay, no problem. I will break up with this guy, which she did. And then met one other guy and the man, oh, this is your perfect partner. For where? My cousin's son way in the 2 years that marriage lasted. And the guy eventually passed. After the pastor had told her, oh, this guy has a bright future, stick with him, he's going to make money. The guy eventually passed, which is very sad. So what am I saying? I don't know. I feel like there are decisions you should make on your own. Your pastor, there are people who don't go to church. There are people who don't believe in God, and they are doing so well for themselves. In fact, yesterday, there is this guy, if you're used to Nigerian Twitter, is it Danny Water? This guy he says the most about God, about men of God. But this guy bought a car worth more than 100 million yesterday in this economy. He travels for vacations across different countries. I remember when this guy was selling fake sneakers on Twitter and people used to yab him. But today he has made money, and I don't know how he made the money, so I cannot say if it's clean or dirty money. He claims he's into crypto, I've been a cryptocurrency. But at the end of the day, I consider crypto a fraudulent kind of business because I don't know. I don't know how it works, but I don't consider that clean business. But what I'm just trying to say is that wealth follows principles. Work very hard. You need to work hard. Like, work hard and stop going from church to church expecting magic. Most people will spend their whole day in church, the time they should use to hustle, go look for what to do. They are in church. At the end of the day, nothing will happen. And then what do you now say? Oh, people will now mock you. Of course, because you are, like, when you pray to God, back it up with hard work. That way God will bless you with something. Or if you, except you're confused and you don't know what to do, you still pray to God and God can still bless you. I am sick and tired of Nigerians, Africans, leaving everything to God. Like, God is, God will not come down to help you. He will send people. You just need to have something doing. God can bless you because you work so hard. You're selling as spoons. God can bless you through your spoon business. He can bless you through your biro business. But now in Nigeria, people just want miraculous money. You're sitting at home from morning to night and your pastor tells you, receive the key to a mansion. You scream amen. From where to where? My people, not so. So to be very honest, this TB Joshua thing, beyond the whole sensationalism, we need to still take so many lessons from this and know when not to idolize. In fact, never idolize your pastors. It is totally unnecessary. And you see people who support TB Joshua, my dear, judge them. Avoid them. They are dangerous people. Because if you watched the documentary and you still find a way to defend that man, my dear, you are a finished person. And I am sorry, but not sorry. You are finished.